The white dress at Gate 17. How a CIA operative brought down two corrupt officers. The sharp click-clack of metal against metal sliced through the hum of voices and rolling luggage in the arrivals hall at Lambert Bay International Airport. Moments before, everything had seemed ordinary, travelers bustling in and out, overhead announcements repeating in multiple languages, children chattering. But now, a sudden silence enveloped the area around Gate 17 as two silver cuffs locked around the wrists of a tall black woman in a pristine white dress. Serena Vaughn flinched ever so slightly as the steel pressed into her skin. She didn't cry out. She didn't struggle. Instead, she tilted her chin upward, jaw clenched, eyes narrowed with a calm so calculating that anyone paying attention would have known something was wrong, not with her, but with the officers making the arrest. "Get your hands off me," she said, her voice low, clipped, and layered with quiet fury. Officer Blake Ramsey, young and jittery, stood behind her, struggling to clasp the cuffs properly. He kept glancing at his partner, trying to read his expression for direction. The partner, Officer Kevin Tolan, was older and smug. His flushed face betrayed the reason behind this entire encounter: wounded pride and unchecked ego. Just 10 minutes earlier, Tolan had made inappropriate comments about Serena's appearance, insinuated a proposition, and brushed his hand too close to her waist. Serena, unbothered and direct, had rejected him in no uncertain terms. And that, for Kevin Tolan, was unforgivable. "You're resisting the police now?" he barked, voice raised not in duty but in defense of his bruised ego. "I told you not to play hard to get. Who the hell do you think you are, turning down an officer?" Serena held her stance, wrists secure behind her back. "You're abusing your badge, officer," she said, "and you're about to learn what real accountability looks like." Tolan sneered. "Let's add resisting arrest and suspicious activity to your list. Take her to the holding room." A few gasps echoed through the crowd. Several travelers had started recording, phones discreetly pointed at the unfolding drama. But Tolan didn't care. The white dress Serena wore, once elegant and composed, now became a stark visual: a black woman in a gown, restrained and surrounded by two men misusing the law. Serena didn't fight back. That would compromise everything. She had a cover to maintain. She kept her posture tall as they walked her through the airport lobby. In a small, windowless room off the side corridor marked security processing, they shoved her onto a cold metal chair. Ramsey leaned against the wall, arms crossed, lips tight. Tolan paced in front of her, chest puffed. "You got a smart mouth for someone in cuffs," he said. Serena said nothing. Not yet. Her mind, sharpened by over a decade of Black Ops fieldwork, was already working through her options. She wasn't just some traveler. Her real name wasn't Isabelle Monet, the identity on the French passport she'd presented. She wasn't a fashion designer. She was Serena Vaughn, senior field operative for the Central Intelligence Agency. And these two had just made the worst mistake of their lives. Her recent assignment had taken her from Zurich to Marseille, then back through neutral airspace to Lambert Bay, under a carefully crafted identity. She was tracking the final node of an international arms smuggling ring. Every detail of her disguise, from the accent to the passport to the designer heels, had been forged by Langley's finest. It was meant to dazzle and distract. The last thing she needed was attention from local cops. But now that attention had come, not because of her mission, not because of her cover, but because two men saw a black woman alone in a white dress and thought she was an easy mark. "You're not French," Tolan growled, stepping closer. "No designer speaks like that. Where you really from, sweetheart?" "I'm requesting a phone call," Serena replied coolly. "Oh, we'll get to that," he chuckled darkly. "But first, you're going to tell us who you really are. Because that little cover story ain't holding up." She glanced over at the landline phone on the desk, ancient and useless. She needed her burner. The secure Say-issued mobile in her handbag held the only means to activate a distress signal without exposing her identity. "I need to call my American sponsor," she said carefully. "My employer." "Employer, huh?" "Sure." Tolan rolled his eyes. He gestured to Ramsey, who retrieved her small silver purse and pulled out the nondescript burner phone. Looks cheap for a so-called fashion designer. It's for international calls only, she said flatly. My personal phone is dead. Tolan tossed it toward her. Fine. Dial. Speaker on. With her hands cuffed, Ramsey held the phone up to her ear. Serena took a deep breath. Her pulse was steady. Center, this is Nightingale, she said clearly into the receiver. Authenticate identity code, Delta Echo 79er. Ramsey and Tolan blinked. They hadn't expected that. Emergency protocol, broken lantern. Priority level, Gamma. Detained unlawfully by local officers at Lambert Bay International. Coordinates transmitting now. Tolan took a sharp step back. What the hell? I repeat, Serena continued. Subject detained. Abuse of authority. Immediate intervention requested. Silence fell. Ramsey's face paled. Tolan stammered, What? What is this? What's broken lantern? Serena didn't answer. She just looked at them, truly looked at them for the first time. And something in her eyes told them everything they needed to know. They had messed with someone far beyond their clearance level. Exactly 9 minutes later, the door burst open. Two men in dark suits, communication earpieces in place, strode in like gravity, followed them. They didn't say a word, just scanned the room. Then they walked directly to Serena, unlocked her cuffs with a precision tool, and stepped aside. Nightingale, one of them said, Are you injured? No. Protocol activated. Detainment was abusive, but non-fatal. Behind them, Tolan stuttered, Wait. What's going on here? That's when his radio flared to life. Unit 213, Unit 214, this is command, came the voice of the police chief. You are ordered to release the woman in your custody immediately. Do not speak to her. Do not touch her. Federal agents are en route. Secure the room and stand down. The two officers froze. And then came the next wave FBI agents, the chief of the Lambert Bay Police Department, and two internal affairs officers. At the center was Chief Harold Mendoza, face ashen. Officers Ramsey. Tolan, turn in your badges, weapons, and radios. Effective immediately, you were suspended pending federal investigation. But Chief, I said now. They complied, their faces white with fear. Serena remained composed, rubbing her wrists where red marks bloomed. The CIA team shielded her as Special Agent Gabrielle Fox of the FBI stepped forward. Agent Vaughn, she said with a nod, I'm leading the FBI side of this investigation. The CIA briefed us. We're fully mobilized. Are you prepared to make a statement? Serena nodded. I want to file a full complaint, and I want those two prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Over the next 3 weeks, a joint investigation between the CIA, FBI, and Internal Affairs built a mountain of evidence. Body cam footage, partially deleted, security camera footage, passenger phone recordings, and Serena's precise report laid bare the truth. Tolan and Ramsey had not made a mistake. They had committed a crime. Federal civil rights charges were filed. The U.S. Attorney's Office took the case. National headlines screamed, CIA operative detained by local cops in racial profiling scandal. The courtroom was packed on the first day of trial. Tolan and Ramsey, now stripped of their uniforms and shackled, looked like ghosts of the men who once swaggered through the terminal. Serena, testifying under the alias Isabel Monet from a secured room, recounted every moment calm, precise, devastating. Her words painted a portrait of systemic bias, power abused, and arrogance unchecked. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. At sentencing, Judge Naomi Ellis addressed the courtroom with clarity. You took an oath, she said, staring down the defendants. Instead, you used your authority to humiliate, threaten, and racially profile an innocent woman, a woman working to protect this country at great personal risk. Your actions were not only unlawful, but deeply un-American. She paused. 3 years. Federal prison. Gasps echoed. Families wept. But just as sharp, painful, exact was done. Serena Vaughn never spoke publicly about the trial. She returned to Langley quietly, slipping back into the shadows where she operated best. But in Lambert Bay, her story changed policies. It forced new sensitivity training across departments. It led to a national review of civil detainment practices at international airports. And in the hearts of those who watched her stand tall in a white dress, head high even in cuffs, she became something more than a spy. She became a symbol of what courage looks like in silence, of what justice feels like even if it arrives in a tailored suit instead of cape.